All
Hello,
right.
everybody. Welcome back to the Real Estate Agent Advantage. This is Lorne Cooper. Today, we're joined by Melissa Waller. Melissa is in the suburbs of Seattle, and she's going to talk about all of her, journey through beginning in real estate and what got her to this level of success. Melissa, say hi to the good folks out there, YouTube
Hi,
land.
everybody. Happy Friday.
All right, so what I would like to ask is we generally start out with what were you doing before real estate and what got you interested in real estate in the first place?
Okay. Yeah. So I was actually an office manager of a teachers union before real estate. So very different than what I'm doing now. What got me started is I purchased my first home right out of college. I never actually rented, and just the equity gains that I got in just a few years just really made me it really made me believe in the wealth building powers of real estate, and I wanted to help others see that as well.
Excellent. And then you thought, okay, I'm going to get my license. I'm going to help other people, like you said. So tell me, what was your first year like in real estate, and which company did you go with, and what made you decide that, and all that?
Okay, so I decided to go with a small local company. It was called Northstone. There was only about 15 of us, and the first year was brutal. I mean, I sold my parents' home, got them a new home, and that was it for the entire year. Just those two transactions. I was kind of out there not knowing what to do. And then this company, luckily, it merged with Keller Williams. And so when I went to Keller Williams, and I really was able to get the training I needed, the sales training I needed to learn how to build my business. And that's
I
when it
think
really,
to interrupt you for a second, I think that's great. I love hearing when people struggle getting into the business because I don't know about you, but it kind of pisses me off when people say, yeah, I came in this business and then all my friends bought houses and family and everybody just sort of, it fell in my
right.
lap. Forget that.
I know.
People should know that it can be very challenging in this business and it's okay. And you can push past that struggle to find your success.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
definitely,
It was such a struggle. I mean, all my other friends and family knew I was brand new. And so why would they trust their biggest financial transaction is somebody who's brand new? I mean, my parents had enough faith in my mentor at the time and knowing that he would walk me through everything, but everybody else, they knew I was brand new. So I was out there trying to do open houses, but not really knowing who to talk to, how to get the business. So, when I went to Keller Williams, I just kind of threw myself into all of their programs, and then I really I was out there doing open houses. I was cold calling expired and canceled. Then I was eventually door knocking. So I was out there hustling because the strangers didn't know that I was brand new. I still worked my ass off and I did a great job for them. But that's how I built my business, was out there hustling and, contacting all those people.
all right, so let's talk about that. Let's dig into it. So when in the process of your career did that company merge with Keller Williams? How far along were you at that point?
It was just about a year.
Okay. So
So,
first year struggle, you helped the parents, you were trying a bunch of different things. Were you full-time first year or part-time?
I mean, I would have been full time, but I just really had nothing to do. I mean,
Right.
this small company, they didn't have the resources to really train me. And they were pretty much everybody there was very established. And so I was just kind of like, what should I be doing? How do I get the business? And so, I wasn't really working because I didn't have anybody, but I was available to be full time. I just didn't have any way of getting the business.
Sure. So once you kind of merge with Keller Williams, they're all about training, specifically very very kind of sales prospecting based training. So what is it that you did that really started to work for you specifically?
I just threw myself out there as much as possible. I had the goal. I was like, I'm going to do, if I can, 4 open houses every weekend, do 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, meet people. That was really huge. It was, have you heard of Bold
Yep,
that
I
Keller
actually
Williams?
took Bold. So I've never been with Keller Williams. I was with Century 21 and Remax and now EXP. But when I was with Century 21, I mean, I always have friends throughout the industry because I've always been big on networking and collaborating. And they said, hey, check out Bold. And I was in
Okay.
my first 2 years, I struggled. And it took me till year three to really hit my success. So during that time, I was trying everything, and Bold was one of the things that I did.
Yeah, so Bold is great. I mean, they have that, they really push you to make those contacts every day, and you have your team and everybody that's counting on you. And so I started door knocking in my community to do my contacts, as well as cold calling expireds and canceleds. And one of the expired listings I ended up calling. So not only was it this beautiful $2 million view home, that I ended up getting, but then it turned out that the seller happened to be a builder developer, and she
Wow.
said, "Oh, hey, you did a great job with this. I have 26 other brand new construction homes I need listed. Would you be interested?" And it's like, well, yeah, of course. So sometimes you uncover a piece of gold. You call enough homes, you call enough people, that it's just that one thing that kind of catapults you. And that was such a huge way for me to really build that experience under my
Oh,
belt.
yeah, I can imagine. People always think, oh, this person got lucky, that person got lucky. And yeah, it's true. Sometimes people get lucky, but I find that luck really finds the people that are working hard consistently. You'll tend to find that you'll get lucky much easier and more consistently when you put the work in.
Absolutely. And I was like, okay, I have, it's uncomfortable to call expireds and canceled. It's uncomfortable to door knock, but it's also uncomfortable not having the business. And so you choose your hard, right? And
Right.
I was determined. I was like, I don't care how much rejection I get. I'm just going to continue to just put myself out there every day. And it got easier and easier to deal with the rejection. I mean, it's not fun, but you get more grit. You get a thicker skin. So
Yep, absolutely. So on the channel, people that have been watching may be familiar with, on Mondays, we do these interviews. That's when we post them. Wednesdays, we do another informational sort of video. And then Fridays, I'm doing this new thing on prospecting specifically. So a commitment to daily prospecting for at least 2 hours. And we're tracking how the numbers should look and work and how business comes from that. And really just showing people what it really looks like and what results they should expect, because it's not
right.
call somebody one day and you get a listing. It's over time the consistency starts to build the momentum and the business, right?
It does. It's like you're planting little seeds, and then all of a sudden, it grows. And I mean, in the business we see today, they always say is the culmination of what we did 3 months ago.
Exactly.
So you just continue to plant those seeds and it will grow.
Yeah, it's like
So
a 90
yeah,
to 120-day gestation period for the activities that you do to come to fruition. And it's really important to touch on the fact that once you start seeing success, I don't know if you fell into this trap. Most people do. I probably did. When you first start seeing success, you start to forget about the things that got you the success. Doing those daily activities for prospecting, you sort of think, well, I've got to take care of this client, I've got to take care of that, and you push prospecting aside, and then you notice that 60 to 90 days later, you've got that dip in activity because you weren't doing the consistent prospecting to get.
yeah. I mean, you absolutely can. When you're working in your business, you forget to work on your business so much. So yeah, you absolutely can. I think that's why you have to leverage all of those other tasks, like get a transaction coordinator to handle all the paperwork. I hired a full-time assistant in July to handle all my marketing and pretty much anything else I need from her, so that I can focus on the prospecting, the reaching out to past clients, sphere of influence, and that sort of thing.
Well,
So
let's dig into that a little bit more. So you've been in the business since when? Because I don't know if we mentioned that on the program yet.
so almost 5 years. I've been licensed for 6 years, but actually been active agent for almost 5 years.
Okay, and in that journey, you said you started calling expired listings, right?
Right.
And that was that your main focus in getting business
In the beginning.
in the beginning?
Yeah, it was. That and open houses.
Right.
That was really like year two was my main focus. And then after that, I decided to farm my neighborhood community, which um, has really paid off for me in a
Okay, so
huge
let's
way.
talk about that, definitely. So you found the luck by doing the work. You got that client, that expired listing, which turned into being a builder, and then you got the ball rolling there. And then from there, you just continued to build, and like you said, you went into farming your area. So how did
Right.
you expand into that? What was the strategy that you used there?
Yeah. So that one client, I just always thought of that one as the cherry on top of my business,
Right.
all those homes. Um, and then I went to a farming class when I was brand new in the business, and I listened and I took notes of everything that they mentioned in there, and then I actually implemented everything, because that's the key. Like I've taught a lot of agents what I do, but I don't think everybody implements it. And everything you do. I mean, it's a lot of work in the beginning, and it most likely take about a year before you see the results from it. So I just happen to live in a planned urban development of about 3,000 homes where it's flat and walkable. And, it's pretty good price points. So and when I went to this farming class, they asked everybody if there has been an established agent that has owned the majority market share in the community you're thinking of, then choose a different community. And that happened to be the case in mine. Somebody who, owned majority market share for over 30 years. And so, but I just said, no, I offer something different than he does. So I'm going to go for it anyway. And so I decided that I was gonna just get out there and start introducing myself to the neighbors. So when I was going through Bold, I just decided I'm gonna door knock every single home in this community. So I went from one end to the other and just introduced myself. Started taking note of people that may be interested in selling sometime in the future. And then those people I started sending a mailer to. So there was about, like, maybe just 50 people in the beginning. I didn't have a huge budget for marketing, so I just
Right.
started sending stuff to them, or I would just hang like door hangers type things on their door. um, and then it's about 9 months later, got my first listing. And then, a couple more after that. And then I had a little bit more budget to send mailers to maybe 600 people out of the 3,000. So I got a list from title for, like, people that had owned their homes for 10 plus years. And then just started sending mailers to them. And then I got a few more. So I was able to up my budget, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna send mailer to all 3,000 homes in the community. And this was right about May of 2020, like right when COVID
Right.
was like in full swing. Nobody wanted people showing up at their door anymore. So I was like, I'm just gonna send mailers. And so I sent it to all of them. And it was like, that's a huge expense, right? Like, and I was like, 6 months going by, nobody reaching out at all. And I'm like, is this worth it? And then I decided to hold a holiday lights contest for the community, and get everybody involved. And during, like, what was last year, when it was a dark, kind of depressing time around the holidays, and so I held a holiday lights contest and had prizes for the winners. And
So how did you
um,
promote that? Did you promote that through the mailers?
through the mailers, and then through social media. There's a neighborhood Facebook page, so I was just really active on there. um, and then it's like the culmination. It just, like, bam, 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 like, started last year in February, and then it just one after another, after another, after another, after another, of people calling me to list their homes. I mean,
That's
I ended
great.
up getting 20 listings last year, all from that community. And I ended up being the number one agent in that community. I surpassed the other one who's still active and still selling quite a bit, but I beat him last year. So
Well, listen,
uh,
agents can get complacent, right? And if they do, you have an opportunity, like you did. to get in there and outwork them.
Right, right. And I think I do think farming works. I mean, you know, I'm also in the community. My kids go to school there. I am, you know, it's just I'm out walking and meeting people, and but it's the consistency. I never let up on those mailers every single month. Whether or not I had any just solds or anything like that to share, it would just be tips. But it's just, you got to stay consistent.
Do
Think
you
with
have
everything.
an example of one of your mailers lying around?
Um, I have one on my computer. If
Okay, so
I,
send it to me, and then I'll put it up on the screen for people to see, kind of what it looks like. Because here's the thing: geographic farming sounds great, but it also can be very intimidating for people, and it's something that I do as well and implement in my business. But it's also multifaceted. People need to understand it's not just one thing. You're hitting that neighborhood, many different ways. And like you said, you have to go with what your budget allows and what your time allows. So yes, it's a neighborhood of 3,000 that you have, but you started with 5 or 600, and you concentrated on that because that's what made sense, and you grew out from there. And so
right.
people would love to know, you said during Bold you decided to door knock that neighborhood and introduce yourself. How did you introduce yourself? What did you say to these people?
So I was like, hi, I'm Melissa. I'm your neighbor here. I just live right down the street, you know, in Winslow Place. You know, I'm a real estate agent. I am here to be a resource to you. If you have any kind of real estate questions, just feel free to reach out. You know, and then I would hand them a flyer or a business card, whatever I had at the time. And then I would also ask them, do you have any real estate needs? Have you considered selling? The market is super strong right now. And then some of them, they're just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, and some of them, you know, brought me into their home and were like, hey, why don't you take a look at this? Let me know what you think. Or but then they're like, I don't know at this time. Well, you know, we're not really sure. And you know, I actually probably didn't do it correctly the way that they say to do it, because they always want you to get their contact info, get their phone number and email. I just wrote down their address, and then I would mail them stuff.
Okay.
So I think you could even speed it up a little bit if you do get, they're like, hey, you know, let me send you some market information. Can I get your
Right.
email address? And then you can continue to follow up with those people.
Absolutely. That's a part of what we're doing on the Friday prospecting challenge that I'm doing. Is we're gathering people's information, putting them into a database, and then able to market to them digitally because it's more cost effective. But you can also do it physically as well, because have their physical address as well as their email address, and obviously their phone number.
Right.
So what
Um,
kind of information were you sending them? You said you were sending them something. What was it?
in the mail.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try to find, I'm going to send you, see if I can send this in chat to you.
It's okay. You can just describe it, and then the magic of editing, I'll put it up.
Okay, so yeah, so they're just different types of mailers I would send, whether it be market stats or just solds, or you know, here are landscaping tips for, you know, to get your yard ready for the springtime.
What was the size of the mailer? Was it always consistent?
Yeah, mine has been different. It's been actually a full size, like 8.5 by 11
Oh, so
on
full
both
sheet
sides.
of paper.
Yeah, so a lot of people do just like a postcard,
Right.
and this one, mine is bigger, a full sheet. I
Is it
did
back
send
and
it.
front, or is it just one side?
Yeah, it's double-sided. Yeah. And so lately I've been trying to do a testimonial, some of my sales on there, and then just some kind of a tip, like whether it be, you know, talking about the local market, or, you know, here are you know, your biggest ROI renovations you can do to your home.
Right.
You know, that sort of thing. I'm with Compass, so I would talk about Compass Concierge, you know. I would talk about the benefits of staging your home. And then and then doing that call to action, or that like kind of urgent request, like talking about staging. And then, hey, if you contact me today, if you contact me before April 1st, full staging packages on me, that type of thing.
Okay. So did you find that people were calling you specifically with that?
No, I haven't. Funny enough, but I am building my brand recognition through this
Absolutely.
consistent, and
Yes.
people are saying to me, I see you everywhere, and I've seen, I see how active you are in the community, or I see your posts on social media. I see how much business you're doing, and that's when people are reaching out. And
Absolutely.
it's, I mean, last year was such a game changer for my business, because I went from all the previous years of me calling everybody else to now getting come list me calls, like, on a weekly basis, where I almost couldn't even keep up with the amount of business I was getting.
That's incredible. And that's mostly in your farm area.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could walk to most of my listings. I mean, how convenient is that? I mean, that's why I love farming too. It increases your ability to do so much more business when you're that close, right? I mean, you're not driving a half an hour or an hour to every listing.
Absolutely.
So I can have 2 or 3 every week, because it's much more sustainable.
Absolutely. And like you said, the consistency really matters when it comes to farming. We've had some interviews with farming experts, and 100% you have to be consistent. And I think if you're doing a mailer, whatever size it is, if you have one side that's consistent branding and the other side it could be changing value proposition, that's fine, because sometimes it's just the 2 seconds of seeing your name in your face, before they throw it in the trash. That's all it takes
Right.
to say, I see this person everywhere.
Right, right. I mean, I have a funny story. I had a buyer, and it just opens up opportunities everywhere. I had buyers looking in my community later on, and I had an agent call me because I was kind of known as the local expert. She was going to be listing a home, wanting to know what she should price it at, and I was like, oh, hey, I have a buyer that's looking for that exact type of home. I ended up getting it for that buyer before we even got it on the market, which is like gold for our buyers right now.
Especially right now. Yeah.
And then I went into their garage. We were doing the inspection, and I was walking through the garage, and the seller had like a huge stack of my mailers in there. And he didn't even use me, but I was like, oh, that's so interesting. He just saved all my mailers in the garage. So and I've noticed that when I've interviewed at other homes too, they just like save all of it. And so some of the people that are interested in selling, they're not necessarily just tossing it, they're
That's
saving it,
right.
and they're like, they're paying attention.
Absolutely. And the fact that you're consistent as well shows that you're professional, not that it's just sort of here and there, because I'm sure you get in your mailbox, like everybody else, every once in a while, some random agent throws out something and you're like, okay, you never hear
Yeah.
from them again, right?
Right. It doesn't make sense I've done that too. I've had a one-off listing somewhere or a buyer, and I've sent, I've blanketed the area with
Yeah.
mailers, and it never pays off. I mean, you're better off sending to 500 people every single month than 2,000 people like every once in a while. I mean,
Right.
it's that consistency. Absolutely. And it's a lot of money at first, but I tell new agents, like, if you don't have the money to mail it, then get the door hangers made and just go and put those on everyone's door, and they'll see that as well.
Absolutely. I think, as we spoke about earlier, it's multifaceted approach, right? It's not just mailers. You can hit a geographic farm in so many different ways. Yes, mailers are the sort of typical one, door hangers are the other, door knocking, cold calling, introducing yourself, because once they see you're a real person, not just a picture, that definitely
Right.
makes a big difference, right? And then they'll start to see your signs going up in the neighborhood, hopefully, being active on social media. So you mentioned you're active on the local social media groups. You have to, yeah.
Right.
Did you create that group or somebody else created it? You're just active.
Somebody else created it,
Right.
unfortunately, because it's great if you can be the one that creates it. But I try to, I'll post my listings when I have them, but I also just try to be a resource. I'll say, hey, on my website, I have a bunch of links to different vendors that I've worked with and trust. If you need, everybody always is like, who's the best contractor and the best painter to work with. Uh, and then I'll just, I'll just post different things just to try to bring value to people. I don't want to be like, hey, call me, here, I'm so wonderful, but
Right.
here's my way of giving value to you. And then, yeah, like the events, I also did a neighborhood barbecue in August, where at the local park, I teamed up with a lender that's in my community as well, and we completely sponsored it. We brought in bouncy houses and face painters, and all, it had, barbecued food, and the whole neighborhood was invited. And it's just, another way of just giving back and just knowing, hey, I'm here. I'm your community. I'm a member of this community as well. I care about the community. I'm a resource for you, and not being salesy, just being down to earth, and but showing that you know what you're doing too.
Yeah, and I think when you do community events like that in the local park, it's another excuse to reach out to people. You can call them, you can send a mailer, call to follow up. Hey, I'm not sure. This is me. You don't even have to say you're a real estate agent because you're not trying to sell their house. I'm hosting this event at the park for everybody. Wondering if you got the invitation in the mail, and then you make a connection that way. And then when they show up, they'll realize, maybe you have like something in the background, a little banner or something, and they'll,
Yeah.
oh yeah, oh, that person, I see them all the time. That's who I spoke to. That's a great way to promote yourself without being overly salesy about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can do those, that you can get those phone lists, or, where you get the numbers for everybody in the neighborhood too.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great way to do that too.
Excellent. So how are you keeping track of people in your database? Do you have some sort of CRM that you use?
Yeah, I use the one that my brokerage provides,
Mhm.
that Compass. It was, I think it was, I believe it was from Contactually initially, but it's great. I mean, I use it a lot. I was using the Keller Williams one before, but it was pretty clunky. So this one's great and easy to use. And for sure, our databases are, the bread and butter of our business. It's super important to keep that organized and to continue to look at it every day.
Now, are you making sure that you stay in touch with, past clients to try to generate repeat and referral business?
I am, yeah, and I did get some repeat and referral business last year. Yeah, I think it's super important to stay in touch with past clients. So there's, I do have just a regular email that's sent out to everybody, a newsletter that's mailed every month as well, and then everybody who was a client last year, they got a gift around the holidays, like a wreath, or buyers got little ornament with their addresses on them. And then I like quarterly, I did Brian Buffini before. So quarterly I do like little drop by gifts to all the past clients. And then I
Like
just
a
try to
little bag
reach
of
out.
popcorn that says just pop by?
Yeah, something like that, and I've even found ways to mail them for those that are out of state now. It like just getting a beautiful little candle, and like, you light up my life, thank you for supporting my business, that sort of thing. Like just sending that, 4 times a year, then they're like, oh wow, look what our realtor did, she still cares. And then just yesterday I actually decided to send out an email to 30 of my past clients, and just to say like, hey, I was thinking of you. How are you doing? Like, and made it very personal, so um, how's Colorado going for you? That sort of thing, just making it very personal to each one. And they were all, I mean, I got responses from all of them like, wow, how nice of you to reach out to me. I didn't ask, do you know of anyone that needs to buy or sell real estate? Because they know what I do. It's staying top of mind in a sincere and authentic way, and just showing that I care, and they were all like, wow, that's, I hope things are going great for you. That's so nice of you to reach out. Everybody seemed very surprised. And I'm like, wow, it literally took me 10 minutes of my time to send the emails, and then, a little bit of time to respond. But hey, that's again planting the seeds, right? Like, it keeps me top of mind as a genuine, sincere person.
Exactly. And ultimately, this business is about relationships, right? So the longer and stronger that you can keep these relationships, the better your business is going to be.
Right, exactly. And I did it all wrong before. I used to call people and say, wondering if you know of anyone that wants to buy or sell. And I think that is just very off-putting to people. And
Yeah.
so I'm not doing that anymore. They all know what I do. And so I figure I'm just gonna, just build that relationship. And, I think that it will come back
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
end.
100%. All right, great. So that's some incredible insight into how you built your business. Now, let's put a hypothetical out there, okay? Let's imagine you've got a brother, sister, uncle, cousin, nephew, niece, whatever, who's thinking about getting into real estate in some other part of the country,
Mhm.
and they're looking for advice. What do I do to be successful? From day one, give them a quick little sort of multi-step plan on what you think they should do to find their success.
Okay, so I would say the number one thing is finding a brokerage that's going to have that support and give you the training you need from the get-go. So find, whether it be maybe joining a team who can kind of mentor you and kind of give you the key, you can follow along with them. Hey, give them part of your commissions in the beginning. You'll be learning invaluable information. Whatever it is, you need to get that training in the very beginning. And I would say, aside from just getting out there and talking to people, perfect your craft. I think that's super important in our industry. A lot of new people are coming in and just rushing out there. Learn the contracts, learn what it takes to fully represent your buyers and sellers at the highest level. I took a lot of contracts classes and all of that at Keller Williams, which was fabulous. So just find a brokerage that's going to give you that training, and then put yourself out there. Start talking to people, telling them what you do, and just, I mean, truly, what makes, I think, what separates someone who's successful from someone who's not is that someone who's successful does not give up. They, no matter how many times they fail, get rejected, they don't give up. I mean, I still go on listing appointments and they might choose somebody else. And I say, okay, next. And
Right.
so you have to learn that. You have to say, okay, I'm just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. There's enough business for all of us, and go out there and find the people that want to work with you. There's people that are, there's clients for everybody, for every agent out there.
That's right. And you're going to find that some people you mesh with, some people you don't. And usually the ones that you don't get the business from is probably you're better off not getting that business.
Exactly, for sure. But in the beginning, I kind of, this is how I felt. I felt like I was walking up a hill that was like this steep in the beginning, and you just have to keep going, like you're on a hike, right? All the way to the top. And then after a couple of years, it starts to get easier and it starts to flatten out, and that's what you have to do in the beginning. I mean, a lot of agents I know, they built their business on Zillow leads, just calling those leads. Whatever and those were, agents maybe 15 years ago. I don't think the leads are as good anymore, but whatever it needs to be, open houses, door knocking, whatever you need to do, like, you just got to get out there and build that business underneath you. I think it's, a lot of people say, talk to your friends and family, tell them what you do, but I think it's a little short-sighted. I don't think you're going to build the level of success, and not very quickly either, if you only talk to your friends and family in the beginning. I think you need to get out there and expand that a great deal.
Yeah, I think what people need to keep in mind, especially if they're just getting into the business, is that this is a contact business. You can't get around it. If you're not willing to talk to people, I don't care how you talk to people. If it's an online lead, if you're door knocking, cold calling, networking, whatever, it's a contact sport. So you're going to have to talk to people. So the person who talks to the most people wins. And
Right.
you have to be consistent. So I like to say consistent persistence equals success in this business. You have to be very persistent consistently. Can't give up. You got to keep doing the right things. And success often is boring. Like those activities that you do day in and day out, they can be a little bit monotonous, but so what if it leads you to the lifestyle and everything else that you want? Like you said, choose your heart, right?
You do. It is. And it's, there are ups and downs in the business. I mean, there always are. And you start to get nervous, and you just, it might be a couple months of no closings. And I still, what I have control over is the activities I do every day.
Yes.
So I don't have control over, if somebody else is going to choose to work with me, or if they even want to sell at this time. So what I can do is just keep doing the work that I know works in the end, right? And so it's, November and December were super quiet for me. So I just kept doing it every single day. I wasn't on vacation. I was continuing to plant those seeds, which, like, this last week my phone has been exploding because of it. So it's what did they say about this business? It's not easy, but it's simple. I mean,
Right.
it's simple, but you have to go out of your comfort zone for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate your insight into your business and how you grew your business. I'm sure it'll help a lot of people out there that are struggling or just getting into the business. So thank you so much, Melissa. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great talking to you.
You as well. So please tell people if they're, if they have people that are moving out of state, out of city into your area, where are you working? How do they contact you for giving you a referral?
Awesome. Okay, so I am in the greater Seattle area. I focus on Bellevue, Seattle, Redmond, Issaquah, Sammamish, and kind of the outlying areas of the Sammamish area. And I would love to work with buyers or sellers. My website is www.melissawallerhomes.com.
Awesome. Excellent. And everybody out there, remember, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Melissa, again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.